The question I get asked very often is, can I buy an investment property through my super, with my retirement funds? And the short answer is yes, you can. The slightly longer answer is yes, you can, but it is very complex. It is very complex and highly regulated industry. You can't just do anything that you want. You can't buy anything that you want. So what I wanted to do today is to quickly go over a number of important restrictions associated with buying and financing a property through your SMSF. But before I start, remember that the SMSF strategy is not for everyone. You really need to talk to expert advisors and make sure that they are actually licensed to provide you with SMSF advice. So who am I talking about? Am I talking about SMS advisors? I'm talking about accountants, tax agents, solicitors, and even brokers. Brokers need to be accredited to provide you with SMSF loans. But let's have a quick chat about the main restrictions involved in purchasing and financing a property through SMSF. The first one is really the most important one, is that you can't just buy any property. Now, for example, you can't buy a vacant land, or you can't build on the property. And you can't sell a residential property to your SMSF if you or someone else close to you owns it. But you can sell the commercial property to yourself. The other restriction is how you can use the property. Now, you can operate out of a commercial property, with your business, for example, but you can't live in the property that is owned by your SMSF. That is very, very important to understand. I get that question all the time. No, you can't live in the property. Remember, the SMSF is set up for your retirement. You can't gain any benefits, personal benefits out of it until you retire. The other restrictions are regarding renovations or repairs that you want to finance for your property. It's highly regulated. It can be very tricky to know what renovations, what repairs, how it can be financed, whether you can use cash or not, where's the cash coming from, etc. So make sure you talk to your SMSF advisor or tax agent or accountant to make sure that you follow the process to the letter. It is very important you do this because there are very, very heavy fines associated with any break of any rules. As I said before, remember, it's very highly regulated. You're also very limited into how much you can borrow. For example, if you're buying a residential property through your SMSF, you can only go up to 80%. If you were to buy the same property outside of your SMSF, you might be able to go to 90% or even 95%. Now, for a commercial property, it's usually up to about 70 to 75% that you can borrow. That's 75% of the value of the property. You also, when buying a property through an SMSF, you're also limited to the number of lenders and home loan products. And that's because not every lender, not every bank will offer SMSF products. Actually, who does and who doesn't is changing on regularly. For example, Westpac and St. George's very recently decided to pull out of the SMSF market, and they are not offering any SMSF products anymore. That may change in the future, but make sure that you check with your mortgage broker as to what lender will offer what product in terms of SMSF. Another restriction is obviously you will pay a bit more for your home loan because rates are generally higher for SMSF products. And finally, the process of application is actually more complex and might take more time. That's because lenders will apply different policies, especially in terms of how they will evaluate and assess the ability of the fund and your ability to pay back the loan. It takes generally longer for an SMSF loan application to be processed because there's some extra additional specific structures to be set up for that particular loan. And also remember that you must make sure that the arrangements are structured properly, because if you don't, there are some heavy fines involved with that. So I hope that I've given you a quick overview of what restrictions are involved in purchasing and financing a property through SMSF. But remember, it is highly regulated. There's very high compliance requirements. There's no annual audit required, and breaking the rule can be very, very expensive. So make sure you surround yourself with the right team, solicitors, tax accountants, SMSF advisors, mortgage brokers, to make sure that you do the right thing. And also remember, the SMSF strategy is not for everyone. Do your research, talk to your experts, understand what costs are involved in setting up your SMSF and running your SMSF on a regular basis. And so also remember that you are ultimately responsible for all the decisions within your SMSF. It doesn't matter that you have advisors to advise you. You are ultimately responsible for all your decisions. So you need to decide if it's right for you. Now, if you got any questions about the SMSF financing and purchasing properties for SMSF, you can give me a call or call your broker. Otherwise, let me know whether that was useful, and I hope to see you later. Bye.